Hello guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do a relaxed tutorial, but I also wanted it to be informative and show you guys how I have always done my smoky eyes. We've seen this revival of cool tones, and there is no better time to practice your smoky eye skills than with cool tones. Cool tones and a smoky eye, it's just like a winning combination. I've always felt this way. I am not a cool tone gal, but when you put cool tones in front of me, a look like this is exactly what I'm gonna do. So if you have trouble doing smoky eyes or maybe not sure of how to go about it, definitely stay tuned and I'll show you guys how to do this gradient smoky eye. And I'm gonna be using a palette that I just got in the mail. I literally picked it up yesterday. And that is the, so sorry, shut up. And that palette is the Bare Necessities palette from ColourPop. First of all, people are making it seem like this palette is huge. It is not. I was thinking it was gonna be those huge like Morphe palettes. If you own a Pat McGrath palette, this is easily lighter than that one. So we're gonna get started. I'm going to be flashing the shades. I'm gonna try and do that from now on. I think it's a lot easier than telling you what the name is and you gotta scope it out. I'll just provide a photo for you somewhere on the screen. I think it'll go down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my lids, and I'm going to use this ColourPop Agave Bloom Cream Shadow. This is such a great shade. The only thing that I want to note is that it does have shimmer in it. For me, it doesn't bother me too much that it has some like glittery specks in it, but if you are kind of bothered by the idea of having that in your cream shadow and it not laying matte, then maybe lay off of this one. Now going into the palette, I'm going to take Banter, and it's basically a cool tone gray brown, leaning more gray than anything. I'm going to use that as my transition. Now the key to, for me, this gradient style of a smoky eye is blending, and I know that's key to every eyeshadow look, but literally if you want a real gradient look, you need to work at those edges and making sure that each shade blends into the next very seamlessly. I'm not saying I'm the best at doing this, but there is an amount of patience you need to afford the look if you want it to look that way. So that is what I have on for now, and I'm going to go into the shade Taboo. It almost looks like a murky gray, so a little bit of a green tinge to it, and I'm going to use this as my crease shade, kind of blending it into the transition. And I don't care too much how my lid looks. I know that may not be ideal, but I'm going to do a gradient from light to dark, getting really deep at the base of my lash line. So much of these shades that are lighter in comparison to what's going underneath it, it won't matter. My brush is pretty light when I head up towards that first transition shade, because again, we need that seamless blend. And I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times. It's so much easier to build product than it is to take it away. So if you have a heavy hand, this is a great opportunity to practice lightening up the load and pressure on your hand. So once you get here, once you get this kind of blend, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to go back to the shade right above it. So I'm going to go back to Banter, put it on a brush that I use to apply it with, and I go right in between and make sure that it's like blended into each other. This is probably the easiest way to create seamless blends, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if it's your first time, I mean, obviously, now you know. See, there you go. The goal is to make sure you're not able to tell where one shade ends and the next one starts. So I'm gonna take a go down a little bit deeper. This is not as much of a difference between Banter and Taboo. So this next one is pretty much like a charcoal gray brown, and it does have a bit of shimmer in it. I don't know why they do this. For me, it doesn't bother me too much because having some shimmer in my crease does not bother me at all. I've put shimmer, like real true shimmer, through my crease, and I like the way that it looks. So this shade doesn't bother me, but I know that quite a few people have had issue with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and put this all over my lids. This is going to be predominantly my lid shade. And yes, I have already applied my base. I tend to apply my base before putting on my eyeshadow. That's the way I like to do my makeup and how I've always done it. I try every now and again when I remember to do my eyes first. You know, if a look is I don't feel as comfortable doing it, but since I did practice last night and I noticed that fallout after every dip, I was able to just be like, okay, I can just do my normal routine. Oh my gosh, did I even tell you what it was? Baubles? Baubles. I don't know what the heck that is. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. Just applying that, really getting that saturated on the lid. And you could use a separate brush from the crease shade and the lid shade, but I'm just using the same one. Again, they're not that far off, and I'm just going to be blending the two shades afterwards. So for me, it doesn't bother me at all, but if you'd like, you could. If you have this palette, then I'm pretty sure you're aware of how it works. But if you're interested, maybe you're watching this video with the intent of possibly buying this palette, just know that much like other ColourPop eyeshadows, there is kick up, but if you tap it off, I mean, I'm not getting fallout. So all right, here we have a pretty generous amount of color on the lids like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe off a little bit of that color. You don't have to, honestly, because there's pretty much nothing left after you've been working back and forth. But I'm gonna go back to Taboo, which is that crease shade, and kind of do that in between blend. So right here where the colors meet, just kind of blend in between there. And maybe if you're looking at these colors and you want a little bit more of that transition shade to peek through, then you can go back with that first brush and that first shade and do the same thing, kind of create that transitional blend. So that is the look so far, and the final shade is taking this shade called Spyglass. I don't know if I'm seeing actual specks from the eyeshadow or it's the transfer from the shades around it, but it's pretty much a matte black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small shader brush, anything of this sort. It can be wider, whatever your preference is, but something you can lay color as if it were a liner with. With blacks, you really want to make sure that you're getting the excess off. And I'm just gonna run this very haphazardly through my lash line, really getting it into the hairs, and again kind of lends itself to that gradient. So just really smoke it out on that lash line. I actually like to tap off my excess, and I'm just like really working this into my lash line so that I don't see that gap when I apply my lashes. It's just really solid dark colors and smoky. I really feel like I'm in college again. Like, guys, are we gonna go to the club? What? Okay, now we can go back to that third color brush and just kind of work it on that lash line. Now for me, I like to wing out the edges. I just kind of like that lift. So I'm going to take that same black liner, kind of outline as I normally would with a liquid liner, and just like bring the color in. So I'm still applying kind of that blend and transition into the shades, but doing so in an angular way. So I'm basically taking it from this line and just pushing it into my lids, and naturally you're just gonna get kind of this fade of a wing liner. If you've been here forever, I do this all the time. I love the way that it looks. It's like a softened wing liner, and it's beautiful. And voila, this is my version of a smoky eye. We could do the silver grays on the lid, but when it comes to smoky eye, like this is my favorite. This for me is what a smoky eye should look like. All right guys, here we are with both of the eyes done. This is what it looks like. I did throw on some lashes, and these are the Ardell 259s. They're just very fluffy. They've got a lot of taper to them, so they look like natural lashes. Just very full version of it. So I have that done, and what I'm gonna do is do the rest of my eyes. I don't like doing my lower lash line on the regular. I just prefer just kind of like a heavier lid and then keeping the bottom bare, but for this video's sake, I will do a full-on smoky eye for you. And this is the MAC Kohl liner in Feline, just filling out my lower lash line with some black kohl liner as well. I'm going to smudge some color underneath. Now I think I need another brush, a pencil brush, a fluffier pencil brush if possible. And what I'm going to do is take that transition shade in Banter and smoke that out. The same on the other eye. So taking Taboo, which is the crease color, and dragging that with the same brush that I used for that black eyeshadow right at the base, but I brushed it off so I don't get that same intensity of color. I'm bringing it about halfway in, maybe 2/3. Yeah, I would say about 2/3. Now taking that black very lightly, and I'm just gonna dust that on the outer corner right here, kind of connect it to the wing. I remember I think I'm gonna do a video on it of all of my OG like MAC favorites, things that I used to use on the regular or maybe were once very popular. But I remember I used to own Carbon, which is MAC's version of black, and I also had Black Tide, which was black with a whole bunch of shimmer. Like the shimmer was very visible. And Embark, those three eyeshadows I hit pan on. Like I damaged those eyeshadows because I used them so much in college. Those were my favorites, and I would pretty much do this look in variations. All right guys, there we have it. This is the final look, kind of an OG smoky eye. And I know that smoky eyes are not as prevalent as they used to be. You know, trends change here and there. But I don't know, with these cool tone palettes coming out, I'm feeling that resurgence. It happens every few years where it'll be warm and then people get tired of it, and then there'll be this uptick of cool tones and then it'll go away, and then warm tones will take over for a little bit. It's been this way for years. So now that cool tones are making their way back, this is a great time to do smoky eyes like this. It doesn't have to be black. You can do browns, you can do variations of reds, greens, blues. But for me, this style of smoky eye, the gradient from light to dark, it is just the most sultry, I feel, than any other smoky eye you can do. Kind of that mysterious look you get when your eyes kind of like cinch up. It's beautiful, and I feel like I'm young again. My sinus. But anyways, a full list of products will be listed down below, and if you're interested in any of my former makeup looks or possibly my future ones, be sure to check me out on Instagram. First link in the description box down below, where I will post a photo of all my makeup looks along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys.